I'm going to buy like a $500 running car, and I'm going to have we're going to crash a car. Like, I'm going to fucking have them motherfuckers going like 25 miles an hour.
You are the most interesting person I've ever met in my life. What is the reaction to the debate was absolutely, I was gobsmacked, okay? I watched CNN for the first time in about 10 years to watch what they were going to say afterwards. CNN savaged Joe Biden.
I'm going to remind everybody that during Civil War, normal wars, World War II, cats were promoted to 03, sometimes even colonel, like right now because they needed it. And I just heard this crazy one on a podcast. In Vietnam, they were talking about taking fighter pilots in the Marine Corps and making them infantry officers because the infantry officers were getting killed at such a high rate.
First of all, I have a serious issue with that. If you're an E7, if you're a senior NCO, I don't get to look at you and I don't get to pick which senior NCOs I'm going to listen to. The people in the team room may know what that specific dude's or dudettes job is on the team, right?
You know, early when we were getting on, Aaron, you talking about Michelle Obama. Fuck, I'll vote for Michelle Obama right now. I didn't really like that Klan, but fuck, I'll just give me a sane motherfucker that wants to lead the country. I'll be better off with them than that shit we saw up there. I mean,
you know, you gotta, right now he has a chance to have this pause. Like, I saw the thing, he's working on his family, but he has this pause right now to protect himself. And you can still protect your kids. You can still do all that too. Now, if the significant other is being abusive to them, that's another ballgame, right?
I knew that story would fit well with this story because we worried about fucking beards and good order and discipline, and I wanted to tell the story of the Norwegians with fucking, a solid fucking 30 titties out there.
Before we jump into the first topic, guys, Jake, I got a question for you since you're our resident self-development coach. How do you raise kids in today's environment?
So that's a great one, man. We were just at the YMCA yesterday, and my 12-year-old's going down the slide screaming like a 2-year-old girl, okay? And I had to have a conversation with him. I said, listen, man, you out here in public, you're going down this slide and you're screaming like a 2-year-old girl, and everybody's looking at you like there's a 2-year-old girl coming out of that tube, but you're a 12-year-old boy. And so he's like, okay, I get it. So he stopped screaming. And then 2 seconds later, my 10-year-old is screaming at him, it's time to go. And he wouldn't come. So my 10-year-old ran over and clotheslined him. And this is happening in the middle of the YMCA pool. And then I lit fire to all three of them. And I said, listen, man, we out here in public. You guys are acting like wild animals. Do you understand that everybody around you is viewing you like, who are these kids? Do they have a family? Are they wigs? And so then everybody shut up and we got out of there. And, I had to pop my 10-year-old and he informed me in the van it didn't hurt. Didn't hurt, Dad. So, yeah, okay. So, I can't make a serial killer here. So I would just say, it's a constant struggle in my house. You got to try to pick your, wins and your losses. But, my 12-year-old is getting to a place now where he wants to be a teenager and, he got to start acting like a man. But I think it's just, it goes back to hard work, bro. You make them do hard work and you fucking break them of complaining and then they just grow up the right way.
How do you react to the comments that I often hear from my wife, and I'm sure you guys hear this one also, or that sounds like this: hey, your son's not in the military, don't treat him like one of your soldiers, or be easy on him. Like, how do you deal with that particular comment? Because it's something that I often hear. Not that I'm saying it's a bad thing, because it took me a while to sit back and realize, holy crap, I'm doing this, and oh yeah, he's not, one of my soldiers. Like, how do you guys react to that?
So the one thing I'll say, Jay, and this is one of those things. I'm married to my wife. I've been rolling with my wife since 2001. She knows that the kids got to be fed to make sure they don't melt down. Other than that, I'm in charge of their safety. If it's hot outside and we working, just the other day, I'll give you an example, because every now and then I got to blow some shit up. Okay, one of my buddies from West Point ran his F-250 into the back of my fucking Honda Odyssey, and we had to replace the whole fucking back door of the Honda Odyssey. So we go outside, a couple drizzles, Fucking 30 minutes in, it's pouring down fucking rain. I got the fucking whole hatch off the van. So 3 of us are working in the rain. So my wife comes out with a fucking umbrella. I'm from fucking Washington State. We don't have fucking umbrellas.
You're not allowed. No, they don't even sell them. Yeah, you're not allowed.
No. So I looked at her. I said, "What are you doing?" She's like, "Well," so she gave the umbrella to one of my kids, and he promptly tried to unscrew the latch gate from the fucking thing that's laying in our yard, holding an umbrella. So I went over there and I fucking Harry carried that umbrella into the trash can and shit. Okay, I don't know what to tell you. Like, I didn't say nothing to her, but she came out and the umbrella was fucking folded up in the trash can, all broke. And then she got mad about it. And I just said, "Hey, I don't know what happened, man. The wind got it." Right. But at the end of the day, like, we're going to do hard shit. It rained. I thought it was fucking awesome. You know, I can't tell you the number of times a day. In Washington State, I work in the rain all the time. Only one of my kids was affected by it. And I think that was partially because someone tried to give him a fucking umbrella. You know, so it is what it is. I ain't going to say I got all the answers, Jay. I just try to make them do hard shit as much as I can. But they know if I'm making up hard shit. So I can't make up hard shit no more because they're too old. So, like, we got trash pickup. On the 8th of July, we got bulk pickup. So, like, Saturday, I got to tell them tomorrow, I'm fucking running a chainsaw for probably 2 or 3 hours. We're going to clear out the whole fucking back, all these dead bushes, tree shits I got, pile them up in the street because we won't be here on the 8th. And it's going to be like fucking, you know, like, it's going to be a solid 4 or 5 hours of work they're going to be doing.
That's pretty good input. That's pretty good input, Jake. Ben, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think, you know, Jake's Jake can make me crack up over there. But I think anytime you emphasize, you know, I would say doing hard things. I would think doing hard things, challenging yourself. Because let's be honest, you know, for me, I mean, their world today, you know, kids today, teenagers especially, their world is much, much different. They exist in this 24/7 social media connectedness with everybody. You know, then there's so many other social ills, I could say, you know, just to not jump into too deeply to every single thing. But there's so many challenges and social challenges they have out there that I think the biggest thing is this. Number one, go for it. You know, if you think you can, take a shot at it and you get feedback. Then you find out if you're good at things. Challenge yourself. Do hard things. Take the road less traveled. All those things like that, they really apply. They're not just buzzwords. And the biggest thing is, though, in this day and age, with what they're surrounded with, again, that 24/7 monitoring, people always knowing their business, is be kind to yourself in the process. You know, I mean, I think, you know, Jake, you and I both come from a football background, and, you know, how many times you see people in high pressure situations out in the field. And the thing is this, you're going against some of the best people at what you do. If you want to be number one, or you want to be top 10% at any field, you're going to go against really talented, hardworking people. That's just to get in the door, right? The hard work has got to be there, and the talent, both. And so while you're doing that, you got to be kind to yourself in the process. Attempt hard things, do hard things, keep going. And ultimately, and like you're saying, you know, raising up young men today is so that you can stand on your own 2 damn feet eventually. You know, it's not easy, but stand on your own 2 feet, make a contribution, do something. You don't have to be like me. You don't have to be like us, right? Like what we've done in life. But, you know, you want to make a contribution and make a difference and leave your community, leave yourself, your family, community, and hopefully a broader impact, you know, if you can. But, you know, start with being someone that can stand on their own 2 feet and that faces up to hard things, that does hard things. I'm not going to start speaking on morality and all these things like that because no one's perfect in this world. But I think, you know, we start there, taking care of what you got to take care of, and attempting hard things, believing in yourself, and not being a sloth. That's the biggest thing. You see people out there just being freaking sloths today. Young men out there just flopping around, wanting somebody to take care of them or someone to help them all the time. Now, it's okay to get help, no doubt about it. But eventually you got to get going, you know, and you got to friggin' do it. You can't just be, you know, laying around and being a jellyfish your whole life. So that's what I would say.
Nice. Man, I'll tell you, this one hits home for me. You know, I went through a deliberate, you know, we make this joke with my 4-month-old, my son, you know, Samuel, the young man, Samuel Orion, strong name for the young man. So, you know, I made this joke, but we deliberately, had 2 surgeries in order to make the young man appear into this world, right? Like I had to get him a vasectomy reversed, and then my wife, unfortunately, like we had a really tough labor. We had an emergency C-section, right? I've had the distinct privilege of thinking, with everything that I know now, I get to start over as a dad. And how am I going to raise this young man in today's world? You know, with all of the benefit of the experience I have behind me, I have the team of you guys now where, you know, before we hit record, like I'm asking Jake about financial stuff. Or I'm asking Ben, like, hey, how do I navigate this? Like, I never had that before as a young father. For me, I boil it down. I try to get everything down to the most condensed, most concise thing that I can say, right? If you have an ideology that you can't get out in a sentence that a 5-year-old can understand, you don't have an ideology. You don't have a clear, concise viewpoint, right? So for me, it's protect. We protect innocent things in this family, and we don't let innocent things get hurt, right? We don't harm innocent things, and we protect innocent things from harm, right? So that's number one. We protect our family. We protect those around us. We have a sense of protection for the world, right? We provide. We go out there and we provide for our family. We provide for our friends. We pour ourselves into each other and into our community as much as we possibly can. And then we don't do dumb shit. When you look at a kid and he's about to jump off of a thing, you know, off of something into a pool, and you look at it, you know, I love, you know, one of my best friends lives right down the road. We're going swimming. His son loves to jump in off this one overhang. And right before he did it the last time, I was like, hey, do you understand that just underneath the water, there's a little part of that hot tub that's right there. If you jump into that right there, you're going to hurt yourself, right? So let's not do dumb shit. And he looked at me and he was like, oh, okay, cool. Thanks, Uncle Aaron. And he went on with life. Man, protect, provide, and don't do dumb shit. It's really not that hard. And then you start folding in, Ben, all of those other moral decisions and all those other nuances that are so hard to describe in this weird sea of constant assault of what you feel like your values don't align with this specific ideology in the world, or how am I going to have a conversation with my son, you know, about these issues. You get to figure that out in real time. And I got to be honest with you, it's challenging, it's daunting, it is terrifying, because every day you're like, you know, am I a bad parent today? Is today the day that I said something off the cuff that they're going to remember forever and lionize in their head and you know, make it a part of their personality? But protect, provide, don't do dumb shit. And then from there, we raise men. It's okay. Hey, everybody, it's okay to raise a classically male man. It's okay to have somebody that stands up for what they want. It's okay. Just like Ben said, my goal for this young man is that when he gets to be about 17 or 18, he's like, hey, you have prepared me for the road. I am ready to strike out on my own, and I'm going to go make a life and a family of my own, and I'm going to go live in the world. Man, I can't wait. I can't wait for that. But in the meantime, we protect, we provide, we don't do dumb shit.
Let me tell you guys a quick little story about when I jumped off and did something stupid. So I was like 3 or 4 years old. This is funny. I'm watching Superman.
He was already good looking at 3 or 4 years old. He already had 3 girlfriends at this time. Like he was actually already he had a long distance relationship that he got out of when he was 2. So 4 years old, single.
So they're gonna get me in more trouble here. But so I'm watching Superman, right? I'm like 3 or 4. Speaking about, you know, you jumping off of things, and I all of a sudden think I can friggin' fly. So I go in my brother's room. I climb up in the bunk bed. I put a little towel around like a cape. I jumped off this bunk bed. I can still remember to this day. I'm like, I can fly. I'm going to fly right out the window, see my brother. The window's open. I smash on my face on the floor, dude. It was horrible. And I can still remember the pain. I got up. My mom comes right in. She's like, what's wrong with you? What are you doing? I just looked at her. I'm like, I can't fly.
Mom, I got an update. Bad news, Mom.
And that was it. That was it. Changed everything in life.
That's fantastic.
Jake, I know you got them stories.
Oh, come on.
Greg's getting wound up right now.
No. You know what I was thinking? I'm like, they should have just given you your fucking special operations tag right there.
That's it.
Because that's special operations. Motherfucking what? Oh, yeah, I'm working on
right.
fucking, oh, shit, I can't do that? I'm dead.
He's in. We can fool him once that he can do it, so send him.
Now,
That's good.
I will say this, Aaron. It's interesting that you say don't do dumb shit, okay? Because I, on the other hand, I'm the other way. If it ain't going to kill him, I let him do it. So I let my son fall out of a tree from 10 feet in the air. Like a long fucking ways, right? My wife was like, holy shit. I said, listen, it's better he breaks a leg and falls out of a tree from fucking 30 feet and dies. And he got fucked up from 10 feet. Like, he fell out the tree and it fucking, but he was on a limb, no hands. Look at me, boogity, boogity, boogity. I said, hey, motherfucker, you might want to hold on. And my wife was like, she fucking was so mad at me. I said, listen, man, we raising boys, man. Like, fuck, I got a picture of me 85 feet up in a cedar tree in my front yard. I would climb that motherfucker all the time. My dad told me, you fuck around up there, you're going to die. You know? And so, like, I understand what it is to, like, test your limits as a fucking 6-year-old. You know, I'm going to see how high I can climb in this tree. Well, you better learn fucking quickly that if you fuck up, you're going to fucking get hurt. So I'm a little bit different. And, you know, my dad raised me a little bit different. We all know that. But I just, you know, I always start with, is it going to kill him? You know, we got motorcycles. Motherfucker, the 8-year-old fucking tore off on a motorcycle in second gear. And I told him, I said, if you hit this curb right here sideways, you're going to crash. That motherfucker flew all the way across the driveway. Landed crying and shit, screaming. I said, what'd I tell you? He said, you told me if I hit the sidewalk sideways, I was going to crash and it go slow. It's okay. Well, fuck, let's get back on the motorcycle. Then he wanted to get back on the motorcycles. Nope, you got to do at least 5 laps around the yard because you can't fucking get kicked off the horse and not get back on it.
Right. Yeah.
You know? So he got back on the horse and now he, you know, but like, dog, I tell everybody, man. So here's one of the things, Aaron, that I think that's fucking crazy, okay? So I'm going to buy like a $500 running car and I'm going to have we're going to crash a car. Like, I'm going to fucking have them motherfuckers going like 25 miles an hour.
You are the most interesting person I've ever met in my life. What is wrong with you?
Wait.
So listen, here's the deal. Listen to me, okay?
No, it's even better, though. Have somebody shooting at you while you crash it.
Well, I you know, I've had that experience, but I don't think that's not the point I'm trying to go for, okay? So here's the deal, Aaron.
Okay.
If I have them crash a car before they even start driving, right? 16, first one of the first lessons, we're going to crash a car, okay? They're going to understand the importance of fucking safe driving. Because I'm going to be in that motherfucking car on the steering wheel. I'm going to make the crash happen, right? Okay.
Wait, are we going to video this?
We have to video this.
Here's my point. When I flip my car off the cliff and into a tree upside down, like 15 feet in the air, 10 feet in the air, I really wasn't fucking around. But I had fucked around enough at that point in the car at like 70, 80 miles an hour, my little Honda Accord, doing dumb shit. Because I didn't understand the ramifications of a car crash. All right? But if I can have a controlled car crash and you know what it's like, you have a whole new reverence for fucking around in a car. And it goes back to letting a kid fall out of the tree. It cost me $500 to crash some fucking car that's barely running. I think I'm going to probably try to have the fire department there, right? Like, I got to figure out where I'm going to do that and shit. But, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, and it's a bit much, you know? Like, I may even hook up I'm probably going to hook up a fire extinguisher to the gas tank so I could just fucking, or I may just have a little tiny cup of gas, whatever. I'll figure out the safety shit.
You're going to need me there just as medical coverage. You're going to need a PJ standing by for extrication and medical coverage. Like, build that into your ORM. I got it.
Yeah, but I'm talking about like a 25 mile an hour crash. I'm gonna take out the airbags too. Like, I'm not going 50 miles an hour.
I'm taking out 25. That's been
Pump
done.
those numbers way
25's
up.
been done. 45. We're going up.
Hey,
Plus, you need somebody. Just give him a chance. Nothing big, you know, small caliber munitions.
Well, I might. You know what I was thinking about while you guys were talking and fucking fluffing my ass off. I might have the 10-year, like the one's 2 years younger, so I could just wait till the one turns 16, then the other one will be 14. He'll be driving by then. I'll just have the two of them crash the fucking cars together.
Now we're talking. Thank God Jay is. And then, oh man, Jay, the voice of reason.
You're driving the gravedigger afterwards, right over both.
Yeah. So anyway, I know it sounds like a bad idea, but I've been thinking about it. I got 3 more years before I execute. I will have to get some sage advice from you guys. Maybe we won't.
We'll be ready. But then we'll have like full friggin' mobile camera unit, everything. And it'll be like Mr. Beast.
We can't do that because I'm gonna tell you, social services will be here.
I was gonna say, like, don't tell
man.
CPS about this plan at all because you are going to jail for legal reasons. Everybody, this is a joke. This is a
Oh
hypothetical.
no, Aaron, no, it's not a joke. I'm fucking dead serious.
It's for me. Me always a joke.
This is satire.
Hey, man, listen,
this is mostly satire.
Listen, I'm in fucking Texas.
If you are one of my
I'm in
clients,
Texas.
this is a joke.
Right.
One thing I know in Texas, I'm allowed to beat the shit out of my kids in Texas. Okay? All right, I'm in Texas. Don't get it confused. I'm not in California or Washington State, fucking Oregon, fucking Connecticut. Okay, this is Texas. They let us raise our kids here. I can leave a kid home at fucking 6 years old in Texas. Okay?
Is that real?
100%.
6 years old in Texas? That's crazy.
100%. It's fucking Texas, bro.
That's crazy.
But I will say this: I have not done it, but I am thinking about it. So if that qualifies me for a CPS visit, tell the motherfuckers come over my house. Y'all know the rules. Better knock on the door.
Better knock on a door. We talked about it before.
Hey, so, all right. So while we're waiting, I'll tell you guys another dad story. You know, you're so all the tough stuff. We're saying be tough.
As long as
do
my
hard
kids don't
things,
crash
stuff
the
like
car
that.
and die.
So this is a time it kind of got thrown in my face, right? I'm with my oldest son, and we're living in California, and we got this like little mini bike. Somehow we won it in a contest, something like that. This little mini bike, little electric mini bike, super cool, right? And my son's like, yeah, you know, and he's like 5, 6, I don't know, something like that. He's like, yeah, Dad, you know, you got to set it up and rip it around. I'm like, all right. I get this puppy all put together, charged up. I got like a driveway that slopes down, right, into a cul-de-sac. It's in SoCal. And I fire this thing up. I'm like, got a lot of experience in motorcycles, dirt bikes, motocross, all this stuff. So I'm like, I got this easy. I hammer this thing, flying down the driveway. The front wheel flies the fuck off. No shit. All I see in slow motion is 2 metal front forks go into the concrete. I fly over the friggin' handlebars, just miss biting the curb, put my hands down. You remember as a kid when you fell off your bike, you go in the gravel, it's like, oh, my hands are getting ripped the frig up. I get up, I'm like, oh my God. My son comes over, goes just like this. He passed me, goes, oh, that's okay. That was a good fall. Good job. Whoa, laugh it off. And I was like, you know, it's like something basically I told him. I was dying. That taught me right there. You know, that crap about, oh, you're good, pick yourself up. You have not experienced like that child pain. If you don't remember it, you got to get refreshed on it, because that, I'm telling you, that made me brand new right there, dude. And he came right over to me just like I would to him. You're okay, buddy? Get up. You're good. And he'll probably watch this and laugh his ass off, because we both laugh about that still this day. But I was this close to getting all my teeth knocked out. The wheel flies off. What the hell kind of dirt bike is that?
How?
And I didn't put that together. I just had to charge it. That's it. It just came.
That seems like a safety violation. Seems like safety was definitely an issue.
All the gravel in my hands and shit and bleed.
That's awesome, guys. Truly great input. But let's transition into our first topic of the day. But before we hit that one, I just wanted to give you guys some updates as it relates to Mike Glover, right? So a couple of days ago, an update came out about Mike. His domestic violence case has completely been dropped, all right? He is walking away scot-free, nothing on his record. What are you guys' thoughts about this update? As I'm looking at this, I'm looking at more so the judicial system, right? How a female could just say something and it's taken as gospel, and this man was thrown in jail and put through the ringer. What are you guys' thoughts on this?
So, I mean, I'm happy for Mike. Let's be honest, man. Like, he was staring down the barrels of badness. You know, I want to say this. You know, a lot of people were being super critical of us passing judgment on Mike before. Like, I didn't say Mike did anything. I just said, you know, we were talking about the situation. I'm going to say this, and having coached college football for 15 years and seeing probably a solid 15, 20 domestics, my advice to Mike would be get out right now. Like whatever happened, I don't care. Whatever happened, like, it's in the past. Pack your shit, get out the house, and leave. Because I have never seen, you know this one, right? Like, to get to the second domestic, you had to have the first domestic, right? And so you had something go on that caused this fire to go off. I'm not allowing this fire to even get close to me again. You know, and I know that's hard when you're in love and all that shit, but like, if you want to give up your whole life and stay in jail for 20 or 30 years over, some female, then, love ain't that strong for me. I told y'all the last time I had a girlfriend punch me one time. I threw her out the house like 2 seconds later. You're gone. I don't care how much I love you. Don't care how important you are to me. Like, when we get to this craziness of domestic, you got to go. But that's my advice, Jay. I just don't think, like if it happened once, that means she knows what buttons to push, or you know what buttons to push on her, and those buttons will get pushed again.
Yeah, man. I mean, I'm 100% with Jake on that. So, like, if you are a young man out there or old man, doesn't matter, listen to this. I mean, that is a great piece of advice. Like Jake was saying, any escalation like that, you're protecting yourself, but you're protecting her as well too. And it is hard because when you're in love, or you think you're in love, and sometimes you might not know what right looks like. You might not know what love really is supposed to look like because of your past and maybe toxic situations or whatever. But at any time you start going at each other like that and there's violence involved, I mean, you definitely, I know if you've got kids and all that, it's not as easy as we're making it out to seem, but it is. In a way it is. You got to walk away because it's cruel and unhealthy for you. It's cruel and unhealthy for them. And so, you gotta, right now he has a chance to have this pause. Like I saw the thing, he's working on his family, but he has this pause right now to protect himself. And you can still protect your kids. You can still do all that too. Now, if the significant other is being abusive to them, that's another ball game, right? That's, you got to deal with that too. But I think, as Jake's saying, if you're in jail, you can do nothing for no one. You're done. So, and if it's probably going to happen again. It's probably going to happen again. So, I agree with Jake on that 100%. And I do wish him all the best. And I'm happy that the decisions come out where he's not going to jail, as I understand it. So, you just pray for the family and wish for peace and harmony and all those things. And the kids that are involved, you wish them the best shot at a good life, to know what a good relationship, stability, and peace in the house. That's the biggest thing. When people go through divorce and all stuff like that, the number one thing is stop the verbal violence. You got to stop the physical violence. And it can be just almost a psychological violence too, where there's so much animosity that messes the kids up, So stop the violence, first of all forms of it, all the animosity. And if that includes just walking away and leaving, then you got to do it, man.
Yeah, agree with everything you said. I'm not going to rehash it. So, I do want to say something. The comment section was like, oh, you guys were talking about Mike Glover. Do you guys, there's an update. Hey, so we're always going to be the man in the arena. We're always going to give our opinion on, we're not going to shy away from social issues here. We're not going to shy away from hot button issues. We're going to give our opinion in real time and in real context. And sometimes we're not going to be right. But if you remember what we said about this, we're like, hey, we don't know where these charges are going. We don't know what the truth is. We just hope for the best outcome for everybody. So the charges got dropped. We don't know why. Was it because the spouse was lying? Was it because they just didn't have enough evidence? Did it really happen, but they couldn't proceed with charges? All of that now is a moot point, right? So the point now is, just like Ben said, great input, my friend. But, hopefully you use this to go forward and be healthy, right? Like, it sucks that you have to live your life in this public opinion. Mike Glover was holding court. This thing is immensely tough if nobody else knew about it. If only the people that were involved were subject to knowing about this thing, it would still be the hardest thing that you went through in your entire life. He had to do this in the court of public opinion in front of a bunch of people that were saying lots more inflammatory stuff than we ever did about him, which had to be tough, right? So the only thing that you hope to see from here, I'm glad that he found religion. I'm glad that he is working on his family. I'm glad that he is going to try to make what I hope is a substantive change that he can live with for the rest of his life, because that's the goal, right? Like, we want him to be a good dad, a good father, a good man, a good part of society. We want him to move on from this thing, learn from it. You got away with one, right? No matter what happened, long story short, you beat them charges like Rocky, and you somehow managed to not go to jail and not have this be a permanent mark. Hopefully, it's a wake-up call and it's a move in the right direction.
I agree with you guys 100%. He did luck out on that one. But as I'm looking at this particular situation, guys, yes, it sucked that it happened, but I'm also looking at it from the perspective of, hey, what can men nowadays get from this? What lessons can husbands, boyfriends, like what can you learn and take away from Mike Glover's situation? Unfortunate that he had to go through it. However, it's not all, let's not let this go to waste, right? Analyze this particular case and learn from it and make sure that you don't end up in that situation down the line. All right. With all that said, guys, appreciate the feedback. Let's transition into our first story. All right, guys, first story. The Marine Corps has a pilot program that will allow individuals that are qualified within the cyber realm and also signal to go through basic training, go through AIT. I'm not sure what the Marine Corps' version is of that. And then once they graduate, they will pin on the rank of E7, Gunnery Sergeant. The pilot program is approximately 10 months long, right? They're going to run it until they get the amount of individuals that they are looking for. And this program is open to civilians, prior service individuals, and individuals from all the different branches, right? So, for example, if you were a Marine, you got out, you got qualified in the cyber/signal occupation, you could come back in. When you do, you won't have to go through basic training all over again. You'll go through the individual training, and then bam, you pin on the rank of E7, right? If you are a prior military guy from one of the other branches, you'll go through Marine Corps basic training, you'll go through individual training, and then bam, you pin on E7, right? This program, if you go through it and you earn the rank of E7, you will not be able to promote to first sergeant or sergeant major, all right? You will remain at that E7 rank until you decide to get out. That is the stipulation that is placed on this, guys. What are you guys' thoughts about this pilot program that the Marine Corps is currently trying to get up and running?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, I'll say that those are some of the smartest people on the planet. You know, when you've been in the Marine Corps, the SIGINT guys and comm guys and everything, I had, obviously a whole bunch of them I worked with. And just every time you feel like they're seeing through the matrix on you and just, you feel like they're looking at you and you're kind of a caveman because they're just smart guys, no doubt about it, and gals, all the way around. I mean, obviously they have a need to fill. There's some kind of, broader operational need right now, maybe a strategic need to get this filled, and they got to do it fast. So that's why they're incentivizing, and that's why they're doing this, because they're competing with the civilian marketplace. There's so much money out there. Why was there a time when special ops guys were getting these massive bonuses through the long war, right? Because it was in demand, and they could jump off to all these other agencies and groups that were doing things. So they're trying to recruit and retain talent, and it's such an important thing. Now, does it harm the strength of the non-commissioned officer ranks? I mean, I think I don't have to tell you guys, but everybody knows, right? You're going to know, like, okay, you're the SIGINT guy. I'm going to listen to you intrinsically for all things SIGINT, all things comm, all things. But you're not going to tell, like, the infantry gunny is not going to move aside for anybody. I'm talking any rank, if you're in the wrong, right? The team chief is going to be like, yeah, this is my team. I got it. Right. I mean, they're not worried about that guy. And I don't think there's any competition there, because any sergeant major, first sergeant, master sergeant worth their salt that's in that situation is going to quickly rack and stack and regulate. So, I mean, I think maybe these are people from the outside looking in saying that, but within the team guys are the team guys, the front line units and their leadership, NCO leadership. I'm talking a strong corporal, a strong infantry sergeant, a strong sergeant in any of the special ops teams as well too, into teams. They're going to quickly separate that. Like, okay, you don't have input on this. You have input on this, but not on this. So, and that's what we hope to do with our leaders. That's what we train our leaders to do, is that, we don't all of a sudden just say, oh, you have this rank, that means you can do everything. No, you can't. That's how it is. So we all know that, but that's just my 2 cents on it.
So initially I was super down on it. I was like, what are they doing? And then I had a conversation with a guy, former Marine that works for a 3-letter agency in cyber, and said that the Marine Corps is so short on people right now they got to do something to fix the problem because their combat readiness is being affected by not having the right people in the right jobs. So exactly what Ben said to a T. There's a huge need right now in the Marine Corps for cyber. They got to fix it. I'm going to remind everybody that during Civil War, normal wars, World War II, cats were promoted to 03, sometimes even colonel, like right now because they needed it. And I just heard this crazy one on a podcast. In Vietnam, they were talking about taking fighter pilots in the Marine Corps and making them infantry officers because the infantry officers were getting killed at such a high rate. So let's not ever forget that the Marine Corps are going to find a way to win. And if that means they got to promote some people to E7, then it is what it is. You know, like just like Ben said, I got a lot of faith in the Marine Corps to do the right thing.
Yeah. So I think I disagree with you guys. I know I disagree with you guys, but just some context so that we give people rank out of basic training after a short basic training all the time. Like this is not a new thing. People were commenting on Reddit, be like, oh, I can't believe you're going to give me some. Dude, the Air Force band, if you get in to be like a band member, they give you like E5 right away, right out of basic training. And then you're an E6 within a year, right? There's reasoning behind it. So Jake, excellent viewpoint on this one. Every service needs cyber, folks. The people that are doing cyber can get paid, $150,000 out the gate to go work coding at some of these other agencies. And there's no way for the military to be competitive. You're not going to look at somebody and go, hey, come in as an E1 and do this cyber work that you can immediately get paid for. Like they already have these skills. We do the same thing with doctors. When you go through the military to become like you're a doctor and you get into the military to continue being a doctor in the military, you don't start off as a lieutenant. You start off as a captain, sometimes a major, depending on if you're a surgeon or what specialty you have. So we do this all the time, right? Here's my issue with it, is that E7 is a senior NCO. Now, the people on the team may rack and stack, and they'd be like, okay, he's an E7, but he's not really an E7. First of all, I have a serious issue with that. If you're an E7, if you're a senior NCO, I don't get to look at you, and I don't get to pick which senior NCOs I'm going to listen to. The people in the team room may know what that specific dude's or dudette's job is on the team, right? That doesn't matter when they go to the PX. That doesn't matter when they go out somewhere else and they're around other Marines and they look and they're like, oh, hey, there's a gunny. And this guy's been in the Marine Corps for about 2 seconds. He has no leadership. He didn't grow up getting hazed in the dorms with everybody else. He isn't part of that culture. And it leads to a lack of, at least in my opinion, this will lead to a lack of assimilation, number one, because they'll get in and they'll be like, yeah, I'm a gunny. I guess I'm a senior NCO in the Marine Corps. But really, I'm working on a computer. I have a job. I'm not playing all these other games. I don't give a shit if these uniforms don't look good. I don't give a shit if good order and discipline is a thing. I'm just here to be a cyber guy. That's a terribly toxic, and this is a hypothetical, right? But the first time that you have a Marine Corps gunnery sergeant, E7, say, I don't really give a shit if you're late. Did you shave today? Oh, you didn't? Not a big deal. That's a big deal to me because that's a senior NCO, and I take that leadership responsibility very, very seriously. So for number one, from just the aspect of giving them senior NCO right off, like why not just E5? Why not E5 or E6 with special pays or whatever? Because the other thing that it leads to is you're going to have a rank inverse. One of those gunnery sergeants is going to promote to E9. So you're telling me like in a couple years, like 5 years, we get a 5-year E9 that's going to promote out because if they are cyber, if they are doing good things, if their fit rep looks good, you're telling me they're not going to promote that dude. So now you have an E9 in the Marine Corps that has no leadership experience at all. And you're going to have an E9 work cyber stuff. That doesn't make any sense to me. And for those two reasons, I'm just like, so, what happens when we have an E9 that you've promoted from E7 and then you look at your billets, because these are real concerns. You look at the billets in the unit that you're working and you don't have an E9 spot. So then what are you going to do? You're going to make him the E9 of that entire, is he going to be the command master chief? Like, what is he going to do? So like to give them E7, like I understand, like people don't understand that we do it all the time and whatever, but it does come with a tail. It comes with cost, right? My brother was the first sergeant of the 1st Army Cyber Command, and they had a very forward thinking, at JBLM, as a matter of fact, he was the first sergeant there, and they had a very forward thinking idea to get these people like, hey, we're going to recruit specifically for, these people that are in the basement on their computers or whatever, make whatever joke you want to make. But my brother Kyle lived that life where he had to take people to the range that shot a rifle one time. They're still in the Army. You still got to go to the range and qualify. You still have to be green on your med pros. You still have to do all of these things that we have to do in the military. So when you immediately jump a guy to E7 because he's got these skills and you want to make it competitive for pay, it comes with a lot of risk. Okay. So the need, I don't know how much the Marine Corps needs these people, but I'll tell you what, the need better be as much, like you better be able to have a net positive for this program with all of those things considered. And I disagree with it. I don't think make them contractors, have them BGS employees, stand up a different cyber command where you can have people work. They don't need to be in the Marine Corps, and they certainly don't need to be E7s. I'll tell you that much, because that's a leadership position where you are leading people. Like the Marine Corps E7 is meant to fucking kill people and break their shit. Okay. When you start diluting that, when you start making that into some farce of like, well, yeah, I'm an E7, but they just kind of gave me this uniform last week, and I'm working on computers. Man, I don't think that's good. I don't think that's a good thing at all.
I appreciate you guys' feedback on this, but I seriously think that it's a bad move. When it comes to this, I think that the Marine Corps should look at going a different path, right? When I look at the rank of non-commissioned officer, I know in the Army, it's the backbone of the military, right? Those NCO stripes carry a lot of weight. They don't belong on an individual's sleeve that is a specialty expert, right? Within the Army itself, we have officers that already do that job. You have lawyers, chaplains, and other specialty MOSs that come in as officers, right? And you also have the warrant officer rank. Those guys are typically, specialties or subject matter expert within that specific job. So if I was in the Marine Corps, if I was in a position to make some decisions, I would almost say to gravitate towards the warrant rank or the officer ranks to maybe trying to, safekeep the NCO Corps and not get them involved in, specialty type jobs, right? Because when I'm walking down the road and I see a gunnery sergeant, I don't know if he's a cyber dude or if he's a fight hitter. Right? Once you start diluting the NCO ranks, you open the door for disaster, in my opinion.
And you're going to be
right.
You're going to be in the Marines. That's the worst part about it, is that you're in the fucking Marines. Like
the thing is, they're going to protect the culture. The Marine Corps is going to protect the culture, and the thing is, if the Marines writ large are forced into this and they don't. They're going to, march on with whatever is said, whatever decision's made. But you can bet your money, bet your life that those sergeant majors, those first sergeants, all the senior NCOs, they're going to make sure they shape this, and they will make sure that the line is being towed. And so I've got to think that the Marine Corps is going to protect its culture. But I will say, listening to Aaron, this is one of the reasons why whenever I was in charge of anything, leading, I listened a lot more than I spoke, because there's so many things you can learn. I thought you had fantastic points, Aaron, 100% with you. Definitely there could be some kind of bonus program. Contractors, I think, is a good answer, but then we have authorities problems with sending people downrange for the contracting, certain things they can't do. You know what I mean? I don't know if you can sheep dip them into any other agency or anything like that, but I think if they're going to have a uniform member, because then you can, you have different titles and things like that and authorities that come along with that. But I think that bonus programs, some type of special pays, something like that is probably a better way to go in allowing them to kind of mature a little bit longer in the service before you do pin on that higher rank, so that it doesn't lose its meaning, as Aaron's saying. So somewhere there's a sweet spot in there. But definitely not an easy problem. And as Jake is saying too, I mean, they're doing it for a reason. So there's a critical shortage. They need to get it now, but you got to make sure that then, as Aaron's saying, you don't have someone walking around that's just diluting the culture, which for the Marine Corps, the most powerful thing about it is the culture. It's the esprit de corps and the culture. That's it.
Dude, I remember being an E4, being a private, walking down the road and seeing a non-commissioned officer walking towards me, right? Corporals, E5, E6s, E7s. And I remember as a private just being so freaking scared, right? Because at the end of the day, regardless of what occupation that non-commissioned officer was, I knew exactly what he stood for. And I can honestly say it's the same in the Marine Corps, right? Like you see a gunnery sergeant, walking towards you within the Marine Corps, you're like, holy crap, like I better get my shit together. But now once you start doing things like this, even though it's on a small scale, like, yeah, within the units themselves, those folks will know. But once that cyber E7 starts to venture out to go to, additional schools or whatever, and he's wearing that E7 rank, like no one else is gonna know, like, hey, that dude is, just a cyber guy. He's not a non-commissioned officer, right? People don't know any better.
And it's such a nerdy thing to think about too with this stuff, but it's the second and third order effects that you have to look at, right? So like, okay, so now we're going to give all these people E7. What does that do to the promotable E6s that are like, how many E7 stripes we got to give out in any given year in the United States Marine Corps? Are we gonna pass over an E6 because again, we've got too many, we're plussed up on E7s, don't need any more E7s because we included 100 cyber folks, to the senior NCO Corps and the Marines. But yeah, there's a whole bunch of stuff here. Again, I don't necessarily agree with that. I understand, what it is, but I think my big deal there is exactly what you said, man. I saw a master sergeant as a young E4, E5, and that guy was walking at me in a motivated fashion. I knew I was about to get an ass chewing. And you're like, okay, well, this guy is going to come. He's a senior NCO. He's going to hand me my – same thing with the Marines, man. A motivated gunnery sergeant walks into that room, and you're like, well, here we go. Shit's about to get live.
But I'll say one last thing. That's a real thing that Aaron's talking about is how those boat spaces, those structure spaces are so competitive, especially, in all of our communities as you go up the pyramid and gain rank. I mean, you have, a several tour combat veteran, decorated, sergeant, staff sergeant, gunnery sergeant, and there may not be space for them to get the promotion. As you're saying, all of a sudden we're going to take this from the outside and put them in a structure space. To get a structure space is a major, major undertaking, And so if there's no structure and you're filling it, if they're creating new structure, that's one thing. But where's the structure coming? That's another great question. Where's the structure coming from? Where are these boat spaces? Because then now you're going to kill someone's career, And this is a whole new career field, unless it's a whole new structure, that's something. But just having lived that and seen, having to literally break people's hearts, their careers, and they were fantastic. They were some of the best performers. There just wasn't room, and we're like, sorry, brother, your flight's over.
If you want to get really crazy about it, like, let's put the hypothetical out there. What happens when that E6 is about to time out? What happens when they need to get promoted to E7? And now we're talking about a career being, timed out because we don't have the space for him. Jake, what's up, bro?
Right.
No, I just was going to say the one thing, Jay, with the Marine Corps about making an officer, every officer is an infantryman, right? An infantry officer, right? So TBS is a lot different than basic training in the Marine Corps. Basic training in the Marine Corps is 12 weeks long. TBS is OCS and then TBS. So you're talking about a full 18 months to make a Marine Corps officer, roughly, right? If you streamlined it, you could get it done in a year. But what I'm seeing with my Marines, it's taking them about 18 months before they get out of TBS and go to infantry officer basic school. So just keep that in mind. They're trying to fix a problem fast. I love Aaron's 2 cents, man. I love it. Like GS, contractors, figure something else out, whatever. I made my point.
Dude, one other thing in the Marine Corps, too, is promotion freaking sucks. Like, that's one of the reasons why I didn't even think about joining the Marine Corps, because it takes them so long to promote. Can you imagine the animosity that would create, where you got a E5 that's been in for like 15 plus years and you got an E7 fresh out of basic training, getting to that unit? It's going to create a lot of animosity.
Let me tell you what, man. We had like my first infantry unit I went to, there were like Vietnam veterans. I'm not kidding you. Like one of the gunnies is like a Silver Star Vietnam veteran. The Gunner Lowry, if you're out there, God bless you, great dude, Vietnam veteran. Like like to your point, they're around forever, so long. I don't know how they keep in, but they keep on letting them stay in.
Let's transition into the next topic. Before we do so, Ben, this question's for you. How do you build confidence and how do you build mental toughness? Like, what do you teach your clients as it relates to these two separate topics?
Gosh, again, doing hard things. I think that's the biggest thing. I think you have to attempt hard things consistently, stepping through fear. I think confidence really comes when you start to step into fear and step through fear. And one of the things I talk to people a lot about is that, we have anxiety. Anxiety can do two things, right? Anxiety can cause you to freeze up and cause you to procrastinate. I'm not talking about things that we've been through, like, combat, all stuff like that. I'm talking just in life, right? Being judged, That causes people so much fear. So the fear of not being good enough, the fear of losing respect and admiration, losing love, the fear of being shamed and criticized, all these things lead to anxiety, which can cause procrastination. The next thing you know, time has passed and you haven't done a damn thing. Okay. So the first step with confidence is you've got to step into the fear. And I always tell people when anxiety comes up in your life, you got to look at that like a spidey sense. It's a call to action telling you to do something. So whatever it is, you're feeling this anxiety for a reason. Maybe you're in the wrong, you're heading on a wrong path, or maybe you're afraid you're not going to be good enough. Maybe you're afraid you can't do it. But that's when you got to go and you got to take action. You got to do something. Okay. First step to confidence is really stepping through the fear, stepping through the anxiety, and trying hard things. The first time I ever did public speaking, right? I ever did inspirational speaking. It's like an outer body experience a little bit, right? Especially, it doesn't matter where you are. If you're in front of a unit, everyone's judging you, right? What are you going to say? Especially, you have to have some real street cred, and then you get out of it. Once you reach a certain level in one arena, you're asked to speak somewhere else or go to talk to somebody somewhere else. Next thing you know, again, you can easily let the quote unquote imposter syndrome get to you. And I know, Jake, you've had a lot of experience with this as well too, but you can let the imposter syndrome, and really what that is you're afraid you're not good enough. You're wondering, am I good enough to do this right there? Am I good enough to do it? And so confidence is giving your absolute best until you can do better. Okay. Prepare, study, rehearse, step into the fear, do the job with everything you got. You're going to grow and improve from that. And that's how you get confident. The way to not be confident, okay, let's examine that, is by retreating. Like all of us being on this podcast right now, right? You're putting yourself out there all the time. It takes some confidence to do that, right? It also takes the confidence to know, it takes the self-belief to know that I may not know this yet. I might not be able to do this yet. I may not be good enough to get at this level yet, but I know I can figure it out. I know I'm going to do it if I stay on the problem long enough. And that's where grit comes in, staying on the problem long enough through the fear, through the pain, through the criticism, through the discomfort. And lo and behold, you're going to come to a place where you have the skill, you've got the ability, it no longer bothers you so much, you're getting a little more comfortable. But then you're going to try and have a bigger goal and a bigger action and learn a new skill set and do something else that's going to challenge you. And honestly, I think, if you are consistently just comfortable, you got to question, am I stretching myself enough? Am I reaching my true potential? You got to ask yourself that. Or are you leaving money on the table? Are you leaving potential on the table? Who knows what your life can be? Who knows what you can do? Okay, I'm not perfect, 100% not perfect at all. And anyway, and I need to continually challenge myself. Being around you guys, I see things that I could do better and improve upon. And then, you meet people who are really good at something else, but you got to surround yourself with people that you would like to be like, or who challenge you in some way, who make you better. And I think that's how confidence grows. And again, grit is just staying on the problem, staying on it, working, improving. It doesn't mean you don't stop something that you decide you're done with. You can be done with something. That's okay too. Because sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is to quit something that's not right for you. Something that once you discover that, hey, this isn't right for me. And, I'm just checking in with myself, getting quiet, making a decision that I'm making a change. Okay. As long as you're making an active decision, that's important to know as well too. But staying on the problems is as much as you can, and stepping through the fear, stepping through the anxiety, it's going to grow your confidence. And again, do hard things, and you will discover grit if you stick with it until completion. And that's really all I got for that.
Well, I would ask Ben, because I connect with a lot of that, right? When you say the imposter syndrome and avoiding the sunk cost fallacy, right? The sunk cost fallacy is, I've already tried so hard, I can't move away from this. I'm going to continue doing a stupid thing, even though I know that it might not pay out. How do you help people walk that line between confident and cocky, between, hey, I'm going to stay on the problem, but I know when to walk away? How do you coach them through that? Because I'll tell you what, I oftentimes don't know. I reach out to my friends at times like that, but how do you coach people through knowing when it's time to walk away? Or how do you give them the confidence to know that they're not an imposter? They do deserve the respect and the admiration that they're getting, although it feels weird.
Yeah. I think if you've been invited to do something, you just have to realize that you're worthy. And I think you have to come in with a realization. And I don't mean like this kind of woke version. Everyone's talking about that, just know that you're worthy when,
Know your worth, young king.
You know what I'm saying? I'm saying that know that you have the potential in you and you have the abilities to do these things. You're just going to have to develop it and grow into it. And then once you hit a certain level, I think you have a responsibility then to really try to live by your values the best you can. Again, I'm not perfect, but that has a way of keeping you humble as well too. And then if you surround yourself with people who are doing more than you and who are better than you in a lot of ways, you're going to stay humble as well too. And the humility to know really, really a life reflected upon and looking yourself in the mirror and being honest with your shortcomings, being honest with maybe some of the mistakes you've made, things like that, then you will have accomplished a lot, have a lot of skills, have a lot of abilities, and you'll have great confidence. But then knowing that I am fallible, I am not perfect, and I can stand to learn so much from all the people around me, and having, I think also once you hit a certain level, having that service-minded, that mindset of service, providing service, helping others, I think that keeps you humble too, because there are a lot of problems out there that are so difficult to work on. And one of the biggest things is working on ourselves. That's really difficult. But I think the humility and the self-reflection is a great way to do that. And the last thing, as far as knowing when to stop something, like you were saying, the sunken cost, you put so much into this. How can I quit now? And if some people say, don't ever quit, never quit and you'll achieve it. But maybe you won't. No matter how much I don't quit, I'm not going to be a pro basketball player. I'm just not going to do it. So I think listening to feedback is very important. Not all feedback, but, valuable, objective feedback. Looking at the results you're getting, I think it's important. Checking in with yourself and how you feel, right? Like if all you're focused on, let's say, is making millions and millions of dollars, okay, and you're going at it and you're day trading, whatever you're doing, right? It's all you're focused on, but you hate it. You're losing your health. You're not feeling good, but you're like, I'm going to make this, I'm going to do this, but it's destroying you inside. You got to check in with yourself sometimes and realize that maybe it's time to make a course change. It might be time to make a course change. And I think if you're destroying your quality of life and the way you feel day to day, it's not going to be worth it. If you're destroying your relationships, because two things, right? The quality of your relationships is going to really determine the quality of your life. And the quality of your emotions and your feelings is going to determine the quality of your life. Because why do we do a lot of things we do? It gives you a certain sense of inner peace, satisfaction, joy, connection, all these things, right? And hopefully there are good things that are giving you that. Otherwise, there's a whole structural problem going on. But I think that's the time when you realize that maybe it's time that I put this down and I do something else. And you don't need to do it wholesale initially. I think just the ability to hold a thought in your mind and turn it over and examine it, the ability maybe to step in and try this new thing and to see, is it something worth doing? There's a great quote from Jim Collins in his book, Good to Great. And it's a business book, and he talks about fire bullets first, then cannonballs. So we have to have a reconnaissance first, right? Do some reconnaissance. We want to do the minimal viable product in business, MVP. So minimal viable product, reconnaissance, we're testing to see, are we getting traction? Is this working? And then from there, committing resources, time, money, energy, or life energy, all these things, or not, or pulling off. So hopefully that answers the question.
Some feedback, guys. All right, let's transition into the next topic. All right, guys, the next topic is going to revolve around the bill that recently passed the House and now it's currently in the Senate, right? Within that bill, I wanted to focus on two separate topics. The first one being starting in 2025, individuals between the age of 18 to 25 will automatically be signed up for selective services or the military draft, all right? You will automatically be signed up. The government is going to use all the different systems that it has available to get all your information and get you signed up. As it stands right now, guys, you are of age, which is 18, and you're supposed to be signing up for the military draft or selective services. Not doing so is considered to be a felony, right? And the military realized this, and they're like, oh, okay, well, you guys aren't doing it anyways, and we don't really have a way to reinforce this. We're just going to do it for you. So starting 2025, if you are between 18 and 25, you will automatically get signed up. All right. And then they're also moving the age up 1 to 26, right? So 18 to 26. That has passed the House, guys. It's on its way to the Senate. Once it gets to the Senate now wants to do the same thing for females. Guys, what are your thoughts on this?
So here's my deal. Like, it's been on and off the automatic register for the draft. Like, you go back 15, 20 years, I think it was automatic, right? You got your driver's license. When it turned 18, they automatically registered it. But let me say this. If we got to go to war and we need a draft, they're going to pass a motion in about 2 minutes, and everybody's going to go. So my 2 cents on this is like, we're in America. Like, if we need to draft some people to go to war, then we'll draft some people to go to war. We'll worry about that when we cross it. But I will say this, in 2024, okay, with all this women's rights, we talked about gay pride, all that shit last podcast, okay? If anybody starts bitching about women getting drafted into the military, they need to go somewhere else. Because if you can't want all the fire, you can't want all that smoke, and not be willing to get in the boat, man. Like I just think in 2025, if we're going to draft men, we're going to draft women. You know what I'm saying? We could train them to do a whole bunch of kick-ass things. They don't have to have a gun, but they can fly planes. The women in World War II flew all the B-17s to fucking Europe. They flew them all. It was a whole crew of women pilots flying and transporting and doing all the stuff back here in the States to allow the war efforts to be successful. And, I'm not saying that I'm against women fighting. I'm just saying there's a ton of stuff that they can do, and drafting women is super awesome. Like, draft them all. I'm going to tell you this, them cats in the Israeli military, the IDF, they live in a good life for them first 2 years when everybody 18 to 20 got to serve in the Army.
So I'll jump in real quick. I just think the only thing I think about, again, going back to structure and budgeting and things like that, I'm all about it too. No problem, join. But there's a big but, is where is the money going to come from for the facilities, for the different things that we have to do? I don't know how they're going to answer that, because if you all of a sudden have a massive influx of females, are we still going to have separate, buildings, separate facilities, restrooms? I mean, things like that, separate training. They're going to expand basic training massively. At least in the Marine Corps, there's no, they don't do mixed platoons, things like that. And if they have, then I'm dated, but it's, they don't do that. So I think there's just a massive structural change, and if you're doing that, we're in a massive war, which spending's through the roof. We're spending so much of our treasure, so much of our money. Where is this extra money going to come from to do this? So are we better suited with AI and robots and drones and things like that? Or are we better suited with more manpower? Can we have them work in the factories and work in all the supporting establishment for the weaponry? Again, I'm all for it. Great. Join, fight, do all this stuff right now while it's a volunteer force if you want to do that. But if we do that draft and you're adding so many people that the system is not designed for, the money has to come from somewhere to accommodate them. Because it all sounds good until all of a sudden 10,000 females show up at the recruit depot. Okay.
Right.
What? I mean, great, but what now? Because they're not going to just fall in line. So this is my 2 cents there.
Yeah. Usually I try to stay in the tactical realm and talk about, hey, second and third order effects. I'm going to do the opposite this time, right? I'm just going to talk in like generalities here, right? Like, Ben, you crushed it. An all volunteer force is the backbone of the American military. It's why when we look at China and we're like, oh, well, they got 1 million man standing army. Yeah, they're conscripts, right? I've worked with conscripts from Norway. And like Norway does conscription. A lot of the European countries do conscription. We already mentioned the Israelis that work in the IDF for 2 years. The biggest problem that those regular people have, and when I say regular people, I mean people that enlisted in the military and weren't conscripts or stayed in after their conscription. The biggest problem they have is dealing with the conscripts, because they are not a volunteer. They are not a willing volunteer to go work for 2 years. So all of those problems that you have, it's hard enough to get an E4 to do his job correctly because they're shaman, right? Now imagine that E4 is just some kid that you plucked out of the Midwest somewhere that never wanted to be in the military, but now he had to register for this draft, right? So the all volunteer force for me is a big deal. So, when we talk about conscription or we talk about drafting, honestly, that's way at the long end of it, right? Like the draft is not registering for selective service. People got that screwed up all the time. So that's number one. Number two, I'm not a big government list guy. Okay, so for the entirety of GWAT, you could totally get away with not going on your 18th birthday and filling that card out. I've heard one person, and I've had several conversations about this, I've had one person come back and go, you know what, I didn't register for it. I tried to get a job that involved a background check, and it popped up on my background check that I wasn't registered, and I had to go do it. They wouldn't hire me for the job. And I was like, okay, that's the only time that I've ever heard of anybody. I know it's a felony. I have never in my life heard of somebody getting tuned up for not putting their little card in, right? The problem that I have with this now is that you had the choice to put yourself on a government list before, right? There has never been a single time in the history of the fucking world where getting put on a government list is a good thing. Period. End of statement. There is no good government list. So the fact that we're going to automatically enter people into this list without their consent and telling them, hey, sorry, you don't have a choice here. You're in the pool of people that we're going to draft. I fundamentally disagree with that from a big R rights, individual rights sort of thing. And it sort of dovetails with that all volunteer force. Okay. I don't want the person that was told that they have to go into the military, because when it comes time for the bullets to start flying, do you think that person is going to be like, all right, time to go into this fray. Let's go. I don't think that is going to happen. Okay. And then the third thing that I'll say, for the women that are included in selective service, fundamental disagreement. And it's simply because it has nothing to do with women in the military. It has nothing to do with, can they do the job or any combat exclusion, whatever. Don't care. Any country that sends its daughters to fight its wars is not morally sound. And I disagree with that in total. We do not send our daughters off to fight our wars. That's not a thing. So I don't know what problem we're having that's driving this. I don't know what problem that the people that are making this legislation think that we need. Okay, well, we got to get this other 50% of the people into this pool. Any country that is morally sound does not send its daughters to fight its war. That's the sign that the sign of a dying civilization is when you send the women off to fight alongside the men. I have a fundamental disagreement with men. Maybe I'm just too old. Maybe I'm just a boomer. Maybe, yeah. But it's a truism that I found that, and again, man, I'm pretty good friends with Kim K.C. Campbell, killer chick. That chick landed an A-10 in manual reversion after slaughtering a whole bunch of people in Iraq and saving an entire platoon of men. They said 100% if she was not there, they'd all be dead. They'd be overrun. They'd be on freaking CNN getting beheaded. Her plane was shot up so poorly or so bad that she had to fly it, and it's called manual reversion in the A-10. Like, you can fly it by wire. She should not have been able to land. Only 4 people have ever landed that. It's killed everybody else. That is an all-volunteer woman that is doing good fucking work. And I still think it's wrong to send her to war, because as a country, every single adult male should stand up and go, I'm going to go fight for my country. It's nothing against Kim K.C. Campbell. She's amazing. She's a great speaker. She is a role model of mine. Like, I heard her story way back when I was a young airman. I wanted to be like her. I didn't want to be a pilot, but I'll tell you what, I wanted to run to the sound of gunfire and slaughter people for trying to kill Americans. And she did it. I still don't agree with it. A morally sound country doesn't send its daughters to fight its war.
My opinion, I think the military is taking the easy way out, right? I think instead of trying to figure out how to permanently fix the issue, I think they're starting to realize that millennials or Gen Zers, whatever they are, like, they don't want to sign up for the military anymore. They have options, right? They can go to McDonald's and work over there and make more money than they would as a private in the United States military. I think they're realizing that these recruiting numbers are not going to get any better. And instead of trying to fix the problem, they're being strategic in ensuring that fighting age males or sign up for the military draft in case something does go down, and they have the ability to just send you a piece of paper in the mail that says, hey, gotcha, bitch, like, report here. I think that's what they're doing. And I think it's them taking the easy way out as opposed to trying to come up with different ways, different incentives to actually get people to join and serve the country, right? I think what they're doing is a cop-out, and I don't necessarily agree with it. Something about the all-volunteer force just does it for me, right? When you're on the battlefield and you got guys to your left and to your right, and you know that they are fighting and they're giving it 100% because they want to be there, something about that just can't be replicated. with all that said, guys, let me know what you guys think about this in the comment section below, right? So if you have a kid between that age range, you're definitely invested and you definitely need to be paying attention to this, right? Let us know what you guys think in the comment section below. All right, we'll transition, guys. And before we do that, Aaron, I got a question for you. What are your thoughts on the debate that took place yesterday between former President Trump and current President Joe Biden? What are your thoughts on that debate? Who won? Who lost?
I'm going to try to keep it as objective as possible, right? So, this stuff is political theater. They did it earlier this year. There's a whole bunch of firsts that happened in this debate. It was the first time there was no audience. It was the first time that there were commercial breaks. It was the first time that the two candidates were, we were going to be able to turn people's microphones off, right? These debates are supposed to be a forum for the American public in real time to watch the candidate explain their platform and get their ideas out for America. And then you're supposed to pick the best ideas. You're supposed to go, hey, this guy over here, he's got the best ideas. He argued his point the best. He got my vote or he didn't get my vote, right? This political theater that happened last night, I'll tell you who lost the debate, and it's America. Okay. So we watched two 80-year-olds get into a pissing match about who was better at golf at one point. What are we talking about? We are not a serious country if we've got two octogenarians sparring over who had the lower handicap. Like, what an absolute, I saw that part and I was livid, right? The other stuff with, watching Joe Biden in real time, freeze, watching him unable to put his thoughts together. He had to be walked on and off stage. At one point, Trump, probably the biggest dunk moment of the night, it's going to be the biggest viral clip is, Joe Biden's finishing up, totally gets saved by Jake Tapper. He is 100% freezing and you can see him rainbow wheeling on stage. And he finally gets to this end. His time was not up. And Jake Tapper's like, oh, thanks, Mr. Biden, Mr. Trump. What do you have to say? And Trump, to his credit, is like, hey, I don't know what he was trying to say there. I don't think he does either, but I'll address the topic at hand, right? The reaction to the debate was absolutely, I was gobsmacked, okay? I watched CNN for the first time in about 10 years to watch what they were going to say afterwards. CNN savaged Joe Biden. Every single person there is panic among the Democratic National Committee. It is not my opinion that Joe Biden is going to be the candidate by the time that we get to the election. That's just, watching the way that the media turned on him last night. All of a sudden, people on CNN are like, he looks cognitively impaired. He doesn't look like he's putting sentences together. Oh my goodness. It doesn't look like he's fit for the job. Well, yeah, we've been telling you this for 5 years, for 4 or 5 years. When he campaigned from his basement and did not leave his basement in 2020 because he was personally afraid of getting COVID and dying because he's old. Everybody was like, hey, he is not mentally there. Compare him to the last couple of years. It's not looking good. He has every single sign of Parkinson's. Okay. People with Parkinson's have a stiff gait. They typically freeze. They have a mask. So remember when Joe Biden was standing on the lawn and he was looking at stuff and his face was completely frozen and everybody else was just dancing around? That is a classic presentation of Parkinson's disease, and it's late stage Parkinson's disease. So when you see these things, the juxtaposition of Trump and Biden, the mainstream media had been trying to say, oh, well, Trump is failing too. And, he's also, boy, I'll tell you, you look at the stage, you look at those two people talk last night, sure didn't look like Trump was very impaired. It sure looked like Joe Biden was. And that juxtaposition was damning. That's what everybody got out of it. Now, people are going to, Trump won or Biden won. You don't win these things. It's the silliest thing ever to be like, oh, my guy won. No, he didn't. Okay. America lost last night because these are our two candidates. We've got one guy that we don't know if he's going to be in jail if he gets elected, and another guy that is mentally and cognitively impaired. Okay. So to see that happen in real time and then to watch the reaction and watch the complete flip of the media, it was just absolutely insane. The political theater last night was off the charts. I was just dumbfounded. Jake, I know you feel some type of way about what happened last night. So just tee it up, brother.
I mean, Aaron, I'm gonna start off with, like, I think you are not doing it justice that those two, Ringling Brother and Barnum and Bailey circus motherfuckers are running for president. Okay, and I'm gonna tell you, I ain't afraid of it. I like Trump. Okay, I have some. I am too. I have some personal dealings with him. So I know who he really is, right? Like, I have a good idea personal dealing wise. I told you I was going to break out a little shit from behind the curtain. and I'm gonna save it a little bit, but I'm just gonna say this, like, early when we were getting on, Aaron, you talking about Michelle Obama. Fuck, I'll vote for Michelle Obama right now. I didn't really like that Klan, but fuck, I'll just give me a sane motherfucker that wants to lead the country. I'll be better off with them than that shit we saw up there. I mean, no, I just go back to, and I said it, man. You talking about Parkinson's? I'm not sure that motherfucker was alive last night.
Bro.
Okay, his hand looked like it was in a morbid state. Like no one holds their fucking hands like this. I said that motherfucker might be dead. Like they might have done some shit to get him up there dead already. I was thinking about that G.I. Joe movie where the president had him nanomites in him. Yeah. I said, man, shit, they need to get nanomite Joe up there because this shit.
Yeah, well, and then the follow-on question to this, and again, now it logically follows and it's hilarious watching people like orient to this, right? They're like, oh my God, Joe Biden is not there. And then to watch everybody go, oh, wait, hold on. That means he hasn't been there for a long time. Who is making these decisions? What are we doing? You know what I mean? Then, exactly. Yeah. Here's a fun, completely unrelated fact. There is only one president in the history of the United States that did not go back to their home of record after they were done in Washington, D.C. That president was Barack Obama. You can say it's for the daughters that are going to college and stuff. He flies around on PJs. He's got a $10 million Hampton seaside and a house in Hawaii. He's got multiple houses. The dude could fly on PJs with the Secret Service. He doesn't need to be co-located with his daughters. That's not why he stayed there. It's not why Michelle Obama has a skiff in her house where they had debate prep and meetings before President Biden went to Camp David. Okay? The realization of people looking at this event and going, oh, no, he's not there. Oh, no, he hasn't been there for a long time. Oh no, his wife had to walk him off stage and then literally looked at him after the event and goes, Joe, you did so good. You answered all the questions and you knew all the facts. And during that, Joe Biden sat there and did this.
But Aaron, let's be honest. What does that say about fucking America that we allowed this shit to happen?
The boomers should not be in charge, man. The average age of fucking Congress right now is like 68 years old or something like that. These people should have given up power. It should be Gen X. It should be the guys that are just barely older than me, right? So like 50 years old should be president. That should be the Speaker of the House. That should be every single freaking congressman. 92 years old before she died, Dianne Feinstein, she wasn't making any decisions for like 5 years. That's nonsense. To have 80, you're going to be 86 at the end of your presidency. President Biden, how are you going to deal with that? I mean, with the the fuck are we doing?
Hey, all I'm going to say, hang on, Jay, I'm pro fucking revolution because I live in Texas and the Republic of Texas is fucking fire. Okay. But I'm just going to say this. I need every American to look in the fucking mirror today and ask themselves, what the fuck are they doing allowing these people to represent America? Because I'm going to tell you this. There's one thing that Trump said that I fucking was like 100% resonated with. When he said everybody is fucking dick dragging America, he might not have used those words, but you know what I'm saying. Everybody's dick dragging America because of you, Joe. He said it because of you, Joe.
Yeah.
They're beating our ass. These wars are happening because of you, Joe. He could not have said it more saliently. Like, that was the facts. Like, Ukraine, fucking all this dumb shit, Israel. Like, bro, if we on our game, and I hate the fact that we are the world's bully. I hate it, right? Like, I think we should close our borders and do what China did for 40 years and just fucking make tracks on the world. But we don't. We out there and we fucking have a huge geopolitical footprint. But he was 100% right. Like, fucking Joe Biden, we are fucking clowns in the world right now.
I got to jump in on that. I think you got to remember he's a politician. He's trying to win an election. And to think that any one candidate's going to jump in. I mean, I do agree there's an effect, 100%. America has to lead. There's an effect for sure. But to think that, you can say that all this stuff's going to stop. Like, I don't think Hamas gives a fuck. You see what they did to Israel, the terrorist attack.
Who does give a fuck? Iran, when we killed Soleimani at dinner.
Sure. 100%.
And when we're not
100%.
giving him $10 billion to fund the terrorist attack that happened on October 7th, which is what Joe Biden did, and part of the Uranium One deal of President Obama when he was vice president, when we don't do that, when we're strong on the world stage and you don't have incursions, when President Trump excuses himself from dinner and then comes back with a world leader and goes, oh, hey, I just fucking hellfired Soleimani. I fucking killed him. I know where you live, your actual house. If you fuck around with me like that, I'm going to send some missiles at your door. Oh, let's have some chocolate cake now. That's a true story, right? So I think the madman strategy that Nixon used, that Trump used, like, you cannot predict Trump. You don't know what he's going to do. He could fire off, Twitter fingers turn to trigger fingers is President Trump. You know what I mean? Like, he's out. He might be tweeting, and he also might be sending a fucking hellfire with katana blades that pop out to schwack you because you talk shit and set Hezbollah on there. So I think you're correct. I don't think that any politician is the fix. The Republicans are not the fix right now.
An effect. No, that's an effect, though. Without a doubt, as you're saying, that has an effect, because if they're afraid that we don't know what he's going to do, that's powerful too. But I don't think all the problems are going to go away. I mean, definitely it was a crazy town. And I think here's the one thing I'll say. Here's the one victory that comes to my mind is that, as you said, America losing. But I think a good thing is that a process occurred that's there for a reason, where you can't just submit my video and who the frig knows if it's real or not. No, you have to present yourself. And, this is what the press is supposed to do. They're supposed to then be able to, give us an unbiased, which isn't true anymore, but they're supposed to give us as best they can. Hey, here's the real deal. Here's what's going on. This is the truth, the best we can. And I think that's one thing people are able to see really what's going on, because we haven't really seen that, have we? We've had rumors, we've had maybe possible videos, but now you put the two of them together and you're able to see, is he competent? Can he stand? And no, he can't. That's the answer. I mean, that's the answer clearly. So that's the one thing I thought that was good. Everything else from there. And the only reason I say that about, and yes, leadership matters. The leader matters. Who the leader is, 100% what you guys are saying. But then I'm always skeptical, thinking, okay, so now this is an automatic win, in my opinion, for Trump. It's an automatic win. But is there someone better out there that can come along to lead? I don't know.
Who do they pull out, man? Who did the Dems pull out, right? Like Michelle Obama.
He said it.
Fucking
that's
Rock.
what Aaron said. Michelle Obama.
Right? Like The Rock would win right now.
Yeah.
Oh, he'd win like that, but he can't come back unless they do, full out change, a legal change, constitutional change, right? So
For what? What constitutional change?
No, I was saying to have Obama run again.
Oh no, Obama can. No, Michelle Obama.
Yeah.
Michelle Obama.
No,
his wife.
You're right.
Yeah,
right,
I'm saying have his wife run.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is going to get really, really interesting, really quick, because they're out of time.
Otherwise, it's a Trump victory.
Yeah, they don't have a bench. The Dems don't. Like, I'll just tell you straight up. That's why we're talking about, Gavin. The list is extremely short. So Kamala is polling underwater. She actually polls negative. I don't know how you could do that. So she polls negative. The Dems hate her. She's terrible. She's done a really, really bad job. Gavin Newsom has his service record in California is so bad that they can't put him. And the Dems, they are so driven by the far fringes of their party. There's no way they put a white dude up there, right? If they have the chance between Michelle Obama and Gavin Newsom, just for optics, Newsom is the VP and Michelle Obama runs. The classic thing that people are saying right now is like, oh, Michelle Obama hates politics. Michelle Obama she doesn't want any part of it. Shut up. To be the first black female president of the United States of America, from American royalty of the Obama, the Clinton, Biden crime cartel that they're running out there. Get the fuck out of here. You've got to be kidding me. For another 16 years, that'd be 16 years. Let's say she gets elected and then reelected. 16 years, the Obama in power at the last
If I was a betting man, I would say after this debate, the Democrats are going to pull Joe Biden and they're going to put Michelle Obama in there along with Gavin Newsom. Because what they can't do is just ignore Kamala Harris, right? They have to do something with her or the feminists are going to lose their shit, right? You can't just bypass her as a vice president and make a male a president, right? So I think what they're going to do, if they were strategic, they'll probably tap Michelle Obama, put her in, and then team her with Gavin Newsom out of fucking California and make them a pair, right? Yeah, he's when I see Gavin Newsom, I think of Ben. I think they tall, handsome, like somewhere along the same lines there.
Don't you ever say that, Ben. I am sorry. Don't you ever compare him to that lizard person? I swear to God, that he is a slick. He is.
I'll be sure to promote your
Oh
channel.
my goodness. Oh my God. I can't wait to spam your channel.
Hey, let me ask you guys this really quick too. So just thinking about Ukraine and like Russia and the implications of all that. I've heard a lot of this from, different strategists and people who watch these type of things, historians. But there's some people, quite a few out there today, who will say that World War III has already started. We just don't know it yet because of what's going on there. And so that's when, that's what's at stake. But I don't like to fearmonger. You know what I mean? I agree with Jake. Yeah, what are we doing? I understand that. And at the same time, there are a lot of people who are very well versed in strategy, history, and looking at these things, the geopolitics of it, and what's going on in war, and just saying that we may already be right there and not realize it. And so a few things going one way or the other, and this could be, a massive war for a long time.
Ben,
Yes,
Ben,
sir.
I'm going to hit you with the academic piece. Okay, so like Russia, India, South Africa, a bunch of them guys have pulled out of the American dollar. Okay, you want to see World War III? Watch the American dollar collapse. The American dollar collapses, I guarantee you the next day we go into war. So
Reinforce the currency.
Yeah, because if the American dollar collapses, then our only recourse is to go to war.
Buy that Bitcoin, baby.
Buy that Bitcoin. Slinging that Bitcoin.
New aristocracy, Bitcoin.
Yeah,
baby.
exactly. I'm just looking down on everybody like, oh, you don't have a Bitcoin? You don't have a whole one? Pfft, get away from me. Get it, loser.
Exactly.
Either way, guys, let us know what you guys think of the debate in the comment section below. Definitely an interesting one. Eager to see how things panned out. Let us know in the comment section below, guys. Let's get ready to transition into the next topic. All right, U.S. Air Force General Kenneth Wilbatch, commander of the Air Combat Command, has issued orders that every unit under his command, about 20% of all active duty Air Force members, will refocus on standards and conduct, dressing appearance, physical fitness, and the observance of custom and courtesy. All right. The general states in a memo, I'm concerned by a discernible decline in commitment to and enforcement of military standards. The memo instructs leaders across the ACC to hold open ranks inspection for their units. This needs to be done by July 17. Guys, within the past several years, between 2021 and 2023, shaving waivers within the active duty Air Force has dramatically increased, going from 10,000 to approximately 18,000. All right. And I can honestly say, before I jump to you guys, as a black dude in special operation and special forces, nothing pisses me off more than fucking that shit, right? Because I remember when I was an instructor at the schoolhouse, like I'm always like shaving. Like I never wore a beard when I was back in garrison, right? And I remember being in the schoolhouse, I had some dudes come through, black dudes, and I'm like, bro, like what is on your fucking face right now? Oh, I got, the bumps, I got a shaving waiver. I'm like, dude, you realize I'm a fucking black dude, right? Like, go, like, if you show up tomorrow looking like that, don't come back. Shave your fucking face. Right? And sure enough, the dude shaved throughout the entire course, and it wasn't a problem. It's just something that those guys do to fucking get over it, and I can't fucking stand it. Makes my balls itch, right? But Aaron, what are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, I got you. So Air Combat Command, right? So just to house everybody. So the Air Combat Command, basically all the fighters, the pararescue, the rescue squadrons are actually under ACC2, right? So you can work for two different commands. You can flow between ACC and AFSOC as a pararescueman if you're active duty. So the ACC boss is the one that put out this memo that said, hey, we're going to start doing stuff because I've been noticing this stuff has been slipping, right? So listen, how about I tell you this? In 2012, we were shutting down Bastion. I was the last team leader in Bastion. Like there was this big thing where we put the radio call and we're like, hey, we're shutting it. There are no more rescue assets. Like the colonel, the last day that we were there is like, hey, everybody on the net, there is no more Pedro that's flying out of Bastion. Okay. 2 weeks before that, I was driving in a Gator and somebody runs out of a tent and flags me down. And I was like, what the fuck? I look and it's a chief. And I look at him, I'm like, hey, what's up, Chief? And he's like, you were going over the speed limit. Where the fuck do you work? And I was like, we're in combat, dude. You're telling me that you could tell by your eyeballs that I was driving 30 miles an hour and not 15 miles an hour? Go fuck yourself, okay? Welcome to the peacetime military. So when you don't have enough stuff to focus on, what do you revert to? Standards, shaving, culture, discipline. It happens all the time. There's ebbs and flows, right? It doesn't necessarily always happen from the 4-star level where he directs subordinate commands to do all of these wacky things in specifics, right? He's like, I want, and by the way, this is a real thing. My friends are dealing with it right now. Like, they are going to have open ranks inspections. They are going to look at everybody's shaving waiver. I had probably one of the funniest things that I'd never heard about. Have you guys ever known an officer to have a shaving waiver? You ever known an officer? How about a Marine Corps officer, Ben? You know any Marine Corps officers with a shaving waiver?
The only time for operational stuff.
Right. You know why? Somebody said it to me. They were like, shaving waivers, a doctor said it. Folliculitis is almost entirely a lower enlisted African-American disease because that's the only people that request shaving waivers for it. And he was like, you ever seen an officer with it? How about anybody in the Marines? You ever see him get a shaving waiver? Anybody? You ever see anybody get a shaving waiver in like an Army infantry unit at the second? Go to second bat. How many people you got with shaving waivers? Oh, none? That's crazy. Is it because everybody there just has like they're impervious to folliculitis? No, it's because shamming junior enlisted people want to not shave because they think it's cool, so they go complain about it and then they get a shaving waiver, right? So when you start honing in on all this stuff, when a 4-star general looks at his entire force and goes, you all need corrected back to baseline, that is not a good sign, okay? That's not a good sign at all. Yes, especially in the Air Force, especially for him, like the Air Force is really cool because it's almost like being in the military. And if you're not in like a combat job where you're actually on the ground doing stuff, it's a corporate job. Like, I don't know what to tell you. It just is. You go to an office, you work bank hours. It's real nice. Like, I don't know what to tell you. It's remarkably the same, right? He's a fighter pilot too. So for a 4-star commander of ACC to get so fed up with it, even in those, like, he's not a Marine. He's not like the CONAC or the force, walking around here. He is a 4-star dude that is are you 3-star, 4-star commander of an entire command. To have him do that, that's ridiculous. Where are the enlisted people that are supposed to be holding this line? Like, why did a 4-star general need to fix this problem at the squadron level? I've never seen anything like it. It's crazy.
Jake, what do you think about this?
Hey, so I got a story for y'all.
Here we fucking go. Everybody buckle up.
So, listen, man.
Yep.
So I'm gonna tell you this. I think beards are cool as fuck and they look scary. All right, like there's a reason that all bikers have beards, right? The motherfuckers look scary, right? We're in the military. I think it's cool to look scary. All right, so we're on deployment, floating around. I'm driving a fucking oiler, the USS Snacks out of Norfolk. We're in the Persian Gulf, and basically we're a gas station. We just pump gas to ships all fucking day. It's a cool ass job. You get to do your job every day. There's fucking a third of the crew is females. Fucking super cool. You know, you haven't, like, it's just cool. This is a good ass job. No missiles, no crazy shit, no Navy, just basic Mod 1 Marco Navy pump gas, okay? So we're out there. Normally we drive the same course and bearing all fucking day. People pull up and get gas, okay? So today is our NATO day. That means like fucking Norway, Sweden, whoever else fucking in NATO is going to come get gas. So it was like 10 o'clock in the morning. I'm the officer of the deck for unrep. I'm fucking on the bridge wing watching. So we got like 6 ships lined up behind us, 4 ships lined up behind us. First ship is Norwegian. Okay. So I ain't seen no Norwegian ship. So boat standing next to me, the boatswain made it a watch, says, hey sir, get ready. This shit's going to be good. Okay. So the ship pulls up. It's 150 feet away, right? Like that's how far unrep's done. 150, 180 feet. They in that low cushion zone, and there's fucking beards all over the ship. Okay, that was the first thing I noticed. Then the ship got alongside of us, and they had this nice little fantail where all the helicopters land. And there was nothing but titties on that motherfucker. Okay? Dog, I'm not lying to you, bro. There was, and I'm gonna tell you like this.
And they had beards.
I'm gonna tell you like this. I think it was on purpose. Okay, there was probably 15 women out there sunbathing, in just the bottoms. Okay? And when I tell you that shit took like 5 seconds for the ship to fucking find out, because I looked down at our fantail and it went from fucking like one person out there to 60 in like about 5 minutes. All right? Hey, I mean, you can't. But my point is,
people are swimming to the ship. They're diving.
Hey, they had some other shit going on over there, right? They had some other shit. Like, beards are cool, and fucking titties.
That's why we need beards, ladies and gentlemen. Full stop.
Titties are even better. So, the Norwegian Navy, y'all fuckers are rocking it. I knew that story would fit well with this story because we worried about fucking beards and good order and discipline, and I wanted to tell the story of the Norwegians with fucking, a solid fucking 30 titties out there just showing like, I'm like, fuck, they just sunbathing, that's all they do.
I'm glad that it was an even number, first of all. If it was an odd number, I would worry about it. And I can verify everything that you're saying. I've spent a good amount of my life in Norway, so I was attached to one of their teams and we did a lot of work. I can verify. Number one, you can have a beard. It's totally fine. And they just laugh at us. They're like, why can you not have a beard? You don't think it's professional? Who cares? It is, yeah. And they do conscript in Norway, and that means you do get very, very hot chicks. I will say that. Anyway, there was a comment. So SEAC, so the senior enlisted advisor of the Joint Chiefs, was a guy, Chief Master Sergeant Ramon Colon Lopez. He's a PJ. He's the first guy to ever do it. Highest ranking enlisted position. He was talking on a live stream with the Chief Master Sergeant of the Air Force, and they people kept trolling him about beards. And he said something that I initially disagreed with, and then I've since changed my mind completely, and I actually agree with him. They asked about beards, and he's like, how does a beard make you more lethal? We're talking about a more lethal military right now, and you're telling me you want me to invest time, money, and real people's work to write a regulation, get it like housed through and all this other stuff so that you can have a fashion accessory. No, if you want to wear your skinny jeans and have a beard, then maybe you don't work for the Air Force. When he first said that, I was like, it's fucking bullshit. This guy doesn't get it. Because he followed it up with somebody who was like, well, what about religious exemptions? And he was like, listen, we all give up parts of ourselves to join the military. We all assimilate and we adhere to a different set of rules like the UCMJ and uniform and dress and appearance and all this other stuff. If you don't want to give that up, then don't get in. If your religion is more important and you can't shave your beard because you have a religious, belief that says you have to have a beard, then maybe the military isn't right for you. If you're not willing to give that part of yourself up, then maybe it's not right for you. I was resistant to that the first time I heard it, and I've completely changed how I feel about it, and I 100% agree with them. Number one, why are we even talking about this? This is fucking stupid. We have to worry about other things. Like, I can't believe we're spending time talking about this. And number two, if you want to have a beard and wear your skinny jeans, maybe don't get in the military. Maybe go do something else. If it's that important to you, get the fuck out of here. Because people want to have it. Again, it's the same thing with having a shaving waiver. They just want to get over on the system. They just want to walk around and have people come up to them and be like, how the fuck do you have a beard? Oh, I have folliculitis. Here's my shaving shit. That's the only reason they want to do it. It's not an actual health thing. It's really just a thing where you're like, oh, I got over on the man.
I tell you what, man, like if we let this go, what's next, right? Next thing you're going to see is freaking dudes with the LGBT colors in their beards, right? Like who's to say like that's not what's next? Like who knows, right?
Hey, Jay, you know when you started down that road, the first thing I was saying was,
oh my God,
hey man, you got chicks with dicks.
Oh, like, Jesus Christ.
Now. Like, here we go.
I knew it. I could feel it coming in the air tonight. Phil Collins.
I knew it was coming, right? Like I knew it. I knew exactly where it was going.
Golly. I knew where you were going, Jake. That's why Ben is terrified right now. He's like, well, it was really fun. Two episodes of the podcast. Anyway, see you later. I'll let you know how the next update we're going to do on legal stuff is going to be how all of our cases are going, which is going to be tight.
Right.
Guys, we appreciate you guys joining us on another episode of the War Room Podcast, right? You guys enjoy yourselves. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below, guys. If you have any questions for us, we're going to try to start to work that into our segments where we answer you guys' questions. Appreciate you, fellas. You guys enjoy the weekend. Until next time, folks, take care of yourselves.